This public hearing is now called to order at 6:09 p.m. on May 22nd. This hearing is being held as required by the provisions of Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth, and acts relative to the protection of the wetlands as most recently amended. Notice of the time and place of this hearing was originally published in the Fairview Neighborhood News on April 4th and May 2nd, 2024.
Point them out. One is up here in the northern corner. We did move the wetland line a little further out into the grass. There were some wetland species, some hydrology, and some wetland soil, so that was shifted out maybe 10 feet or so. Down here, similarly, it was shifted out further into the grass area, about 10-15 feet. Over here, this was inaccessible in the previous delineation, but we were able to get back there. So some additional flags were hung to correctly reflect the buffer zone into the field. And then this area down here, if you recall from the site visit, it was that one little finger that sticks out. That was sort of a low point with some water. We did extend it just a little bit. There was some common rush sticking out and some other hydrologic features, so we did extend it a little bit further. All the other wetland lines have stayed exactly the same, so those are the sort of the 4 changes. They're highlighted in the memo as well that we have listed out. And those flags are denoted with an R at the end of them for revised, so you can see them on the plan. So I'll open it up to any questions that you may have. Back here is closer to us.
I never walked it. I really don't know the site, so.
Yeah, well, when we walked the site, everything was identifiable. There's a few missing flags, I think because of cutting, but I think that's what addressed those. I really don't have too many comments. Anybody else? Any questions, comments?
As far as the wetlands, you said there was
Excuse
there had to be some.
Excuse me. Hate to stop you. Can you go up to the podium? Please let us know who you are. I'd appreciate that.
Just your name and address for the record, please.
You had mentioned that there was some things that had to be addressed for the wetlands.
Can we get your name and address, please? I'm sorry. Your name
Oh,
and
I'm
address.
sorry. I'm very sorry. My name is John Bennett. I live at 5 Berry Drive, and I'm just south of the farm.
Okay.
Right at the bottom there.
Thank you.
And I believe that my area down there is probably the wettest in that whole field. So it's right in back of the cat house there.
Yep, so there's, so there are some wetlands down in here.
Right, I live right here.
Yep, that's
and
definitely
this
wet.
has always been a big problem right here. That's my only concern is there, but if there was anything that was going to address that, because it's always wet there. Every time it rains, it just sort of stays right there for a long period.
We've definitely flagged it as wet, and for your information, it's the site sort of right down in here. We flagged it as a wetland, and that's all. We're just identifying wetlands for this application. We're not doing anything to it.
Well, I just want I don't know what's going to happen. I know he wants to do something out there. I was kind of hoping it was going to be presented tonight, or what it might be, but.
So this was just for a resource area delineation. This isn't for any proposed project. It's just identifying the wetlands on the site. When they do propose a project at some point, we'll be back in front of the commission for that
they'll have to
project.
be alleviates for that. So okay,
Yeah.
well, so this takes care of what I want. Still in the document.
Step one. This is step one.
Any other questions, comments? All right. Bill? What was yours?
Okay, Bill Madden from JF Engineering on behalf of the Conservation Commission. We worked with Megan, our wetlands consultant, my office, and went through several gyrations, went up to the site a couple of times, made some recommendations to Megan for the site. They were good with everything. They agreed with us, and we expanded the wetland line in a couple of different areas. So we feel that they've accurately flagged, delineated, and located on the plan the wetland resource areas on the site that they're presenting to the Conservation Commission. They've done everything that we've asked for. You know, we made 3 visits, 4 visits to the site actually, and you know, we think that they've done a fine job. And our recommendation reads via letter that I prepared for the Conservation Commission is that we would recommend that the Conservation Commission approve the wetland delineation as shown on the plan and as provided by Weston and Simpson. So they did a good job. Everything was accurately located. Everything was good.
Thank you.
Thank you. So no other comments, questions? I guess my comment is I appreciate the work done by both engineers. You know, sometimes it can be a real lengthy process and some back and forth, and it seemed like you guys, you know, agreed with the changes that our engineer wanted, and that's great. That it went smooth. I thought it was good. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Oh, so moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue a complete order of resource area delineation and accept the plans as submitted by Weston and Sampson.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item. Continued public hearing, ANRAD, Rewild Renewables, 1094 Main Street, off Clemens Way, SE file number 001-0592.
Thank you.
An abbreviated notice of resource area delineation was filed by Rewild Renewables for property located at 1094 Main Street, off Clemens Way. Map 7, Lot 15, the applicant is represented by Andrew Gorman of Hills and Thomas Incorporated. Plan name is abbreviated notice of resource area delineation prepared for Rewild Renewables dated March 25th, 2024, revised May 8th, 2024. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion to open.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Andrew, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Andrew Gorman from Wheels and Thomas here on behalf of the applicant. Since our last hearing, we have established new wetland flagging, which was discussed generally at the site visit, what our intent was with Bill's initial letter. So what I'd like to do is talk generally about what those changes are to the wetland delineation and where they are on the site proper. For orientation purposes, we have Main Street here on the west side of the property, Clemens Way along the south of the trailers. So on the western side of the property, there is a dip between these 2 different pockets of bordering vegetated wetland. This area pops out with common rush, the jungle suffusus grass you see in a lot of fields here in Acushnet. So we connected these 2 flags here. This area is no longer mapped as upland, so it buffers them out a little bit further into the field in this direction. So this is our westernmost change. And heading easterly into the site, you can see the start of the change to our J series. When we're walking the site going counterclockwise, we looked at this tree line, and there's some sensitive fern and some other wetland plants that are popping up right up against the tree line here. So we have 3 revised flags in the J series, and this area is highlighted here. Additionally, moving further east, this is that central field to the site. It was originally identified as the I series, an isolated wetland. One of the major changes is connecting this I series to the B series, making it part of the bordering vegetated wetland proper, meaning it's not isolated, it's part of that wetland system, so the buffers have been adjusted accordingly. And then the final change on the easternmost portion of our area of interest, we have the wetlands connecting along the gravel drive, so showing this area here as part of the BVW proper, connecting these 2 systems. So those are the 4 major areas of change that have come out of the letter, and I understand that Bill and his team have subsequently been out to the site and reviewed the flagging, so we would respectfully request an order of resource area delineation to memorialize these findings.
Any questions for the engineer? Okay, good.
Bill Madden from GF, on behalf of the commission. We met with Andrew, discussed the project a number of times. As per the last job, went equally as well, working with Bills and Thomas on this particular site. Everything that we identified in the field and talked about, the plan revisions were made, they were agreeing with us. It was pretty relatively straightforward. So that was good. The isolated wetland being joined to the BBW, that was a pretty substantial change, but it is what it is and accurately depicted on the plans right now. As far as where the gravel drive goes, up to that rear area, we did recognize that there was a little activity going on there, and we felt that there was going to be some continuity between the B and the C series wetland flags. So when we looked a little closer at those, we discerned that they should be connected. And the two areas that Andrew has connected are accurate. So what we have now is a portion of that gravel road that is in a wetland resource area, as opposed to having a wetland resource area adjacent to the road. So connectivity was provided, shown in the plan, and we're comfortable with that. That was another relatively large change to the project, but everyone was in agreement with it, and we feel that the plan reflects the wetland resource areas on the site. One of the only suggestions I think that I would make is when perhaps, I think Andrew was thinking that he might be asking, not for a continuance, but to provide you with the final updated plan of obtaining information other than the wetlands that we're discussing now. But what we wanted to do is perhaps eliminate things that, from the plan view, that don't pertain to the wetland boundary. So on the, if I use this plan, on the south side, MassGIS has a wetland area shown right there. I don't think it serves any purpose just to keep it on the drawing. It could only result in confusion later when, if and when somebody wants to point to the plan and say, yeah, but it was shown on the plan. We just wanted to be, I think, clear that it is not part of the NRAD. I'm sure that the ORAD, when written, will be describing the wetland boundaries that are approved. But I think another level of clarity in favor of the commission just helps keep things clean moving forward. And that was it. We recommend the issuance of an ORAD as well on the project. Everything was done. It was great to work with.
Excellent. Questions, comments? So what do you say, Bill? Do you recommend issuing the ORAD contingent on final?
On submission of the final plan, I think yes, that would be perfect.
Freezing these areas shouldn't be MassGIS.
Okay. All right.
Are we allowed to get up and speak?
Yeah, sure.
Deborah Perry, I live at 1122 Main Street in Acushnet. So how are you?
Good.
So I asked a lot of questions at the last meeting. So I'm to understand then from all of this that just some revisions were made in terms of where that is going to connect to the wetland area. Is that
Yes.
basically the gist of what you just said?
Yes, it was more conservative. Everything was more bumped out and it created more buffer zones, like, more in the wetlands area.
And so can I just ask, what was the outcome of the area where things were kind of rerouted with the stream and the area where there was construction done?
I will address that. later on in the meeting.
Okay,
It's on the agenda. Right now, we're just talking about the actual voiding issue.
okay. My only other comment is that I did send some pictures that, there was box turtles that are living in that stream as well that we took photos of. One of them got run over, yesterday, unfortunately, but they're also, part of the mass protection, mass wildlife protection thing. So there's a lot of, I did contact people over there this week, to look into all this and make sure that there's nothing going anywhere near where they are.
Right.
And that's why
Once I think we said this the last time too, Deb, right now, this is just step one.
right,
You know, so nothing's getting done to rivers, nothing's getting changed, everything is just saying, okay, this is wetlands, this is not. So just the lines are being drawn per se, so it's step one. And like Ryan just said, it's actually went to the wetlands benefit. They grew a little bit bigger and combined as one, and so it actually was a little bit better for the wetlands, what was discussed with Bill and the other engineer, and so I think it's all positive moving forward, and it's only step one, so that if they go forward, there's going to be a lot more steps.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? No? All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to issue a complete ORAD, contingent on final receipt of the final plans with the slight changes to wetlands that are out of the area of delineation. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. All right. Next item, new business. COC, St. Albans, 141 Mattapoisett Road, SE file number 0010519. A certificate of compliance is filed by Matthew St. Alban for property located at 141 Mattapoisett Road, map 10, lot 9A. The applicant proposed to develop a previously developed riverfront area with construction of this new single-family home, well, driveway, on-site sewage disposal system and grading. Plan name is septic system design plan. Dated May 7th, 2017. Septic system as-built plan dated 7/31/2018. Review of matters presented, votes may be taken. All right, we conducted a site visit on Saturday. We've been to the property before. And I think previously they were looking for a COC, I think it was before I was on the commission, but there was some stabilization issues maybe, against the vendor. But what I saw out there was a complete project, I would say. There was no activity, we had a riverfront and everything was stabilized, so that's what I saw.
The only thing I had to say about is the area by the driveway is the log splitters on that hill.
Yeah.
So if it blew a hose or something, it leads toward the river. So I don't know if we can just tell them, hey, let's put a log splitter up on level ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but
Right.
when you're running on the hill facing the river, if it blows, Andy's already beyond that line.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I saw. Everything else looked really great.
Well, yeah, we can send him that message when he picks up, if the commission votes. Issue it, just pass that info over. Yeah, I had no issue with it. If somebody wants to make a motion to issue the COC,
I'll make a motion for the COC.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's read this. Yeah, we'll just make note that.
Yeah, I'll send them an email. I send that.
Or any equipment.
Nice.
Is what we should
Any
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me a photo.
Thanks.
You just want to move to level ground,
Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah. And if he gets to level ground, it'll be actually in the area that he's supposed to be.
okay. Next item, stormwater, Navasite, 550 Main Street. Peer review update, review of matter presented, votes may be taken. Mr. Matt.
Okay, Bill Madden from GAF here on behalf of the commission. The project that we're talking about with respect to this is the modifications that are with the drainage system that are necessary at 550 Main Street. You might recall, there has been some issues with runoff in the drainage basins and what have you. And now we're dealing with Navasite on this. They have a new engineer that's been providing us with information, new design and what have you, or what they're proposing out there. In concept, it's exactly very similar to what was originally proposed, but where I've had some involvement in last year with what went on down there, our position on this one, I think, for the benefit of the commission is that I started T's crossed. I mean, there's a lot of little things that are still presenting themselves with the calculations. The design, we looked at their design, we looked at the calculations in the size of the basins and the outlet control structures are correct in size. They're suitable. We did go back and substitute some numbers that we know are correct only from the as-built drawings into their drainage calculations, because we noticed a couple of things that weren't 100% consistent with the plans. And project still worked. There was no problem, but nevertheless, our recommendation to Navasite and to Meridian is that we make the necessary changes to the drainage calculations so that you read the plans, you read the same number in the drainage counts, so that there's consistency right across the board with it all. And, no one will be really able to find any fault with it. It's very sensitive, I think, on the drainage over there. That one basin, number one, that they're looking for, that's going to be a little bit of a larger basin than what was originally proposed. And which is good. It's one that's furthest away from any receptors like the residential property lines and what have you. And, we're matching our pre-development flow rates out of that basin, so that's all pretty good. As you know, they're anxious to get started on things, and they would like to have a clean bill of health to move forward and do as they wish at this point. I don't know if we're really quite there yet. I think that some of the things that we were looking at is that, they should provide we asked them vis-a-vis a letter, and that letter was submitted to the commission. We've asked them for a couple of things. One of them is like have a stamped set of plans from the registered design professional, which will be forthcoming, we're certain of that. A construction schedule would be helpful, where we're moving in on time limitations with planting of stabilization material, what have you. So, I think that if they provide us with some type of construction schedule, what they want to do, where they want to do it, when they want to do it, it would be very beneficial to the commission in that regard. And then we can perhaps, cherry pick off the items that really need to be done first and foremost. And one of those is the site stabilization. That was, in my opinion, it was never done to the degree that it needed to. And going back to last year before we were involved with this drainage thing. But things like that, I'm almost of the opinion that, and I don't know what you think about it, but I'm almost of the opinion there's certain things that they still can do out there. They don't need to be necessarily worried about what we're dealing with drainage. They can continue stabilizing the soil underneath the arrays, stabilizing soil where it needs to be stabilized, and that will help them with their schedule of things. We start moving into the end of June and July. Vegetation is tough to maintain, to keep established. Getting it to grow is one thing, but the ultimate goal is keeping it. So we think that if they provide us that, that'll be of some benefit. contact information with the contractors. I was told that they hadn't selected anyone yet to do the work. And, you know, I don't know if they've narrowed it down to a couple, or to one contractor, or whatever, but we would need to have a responsible party that we're able to contact and point things out to. We just received yesterday, one of my comments was as-built information, that's item number 5 in that letter. We received the as-built plan yesterday that was prepared, so we're able to look at that, go over it, kind of check that somewhat off the list, but that's where those numbers come up with the drainage calculations, the invert elevations, the brim elevations, things of that nature that we want to be sure are consistent with the plans and the accounts. So that was good that we received that. And then once they really get started to wrap things up and start reconstructing the basins, they should be providing some weekly update. We should request a weekly update from them so that we can track track their progress against their schedule. I think that had traditionally been a little bit of an issue. The schedule didn't always match up to the work performed. And, first and foremost is getting that site stabilized. And, once we start moving into the reconstruction of the drainage basins, even more necessary to have those slopes, interior and exterior, well stabilized bottom base. So that's where we are on it. We know that everything will work calculation-wise, but I think there's just a few little details that need to be ironed out. I don't know how you might want to deal with the request to continue on working. I think, in my view, is a suggestion that if they wanted to deal with site stabilization measures that are outside the proposed reconstruction of the drainage basins, that's fine. I think that they're obligated to do that anyway. It's just going to make life easier for everyone down the road. And, I think that while they're preparing their final construction schedule, they can get in there and do some of this work. I don't think it should be an instance where no, you can't do anything until we're 100% done. Now we know enough about things. We know where the little sticky spots are, but we also know where there's some things that should have been done originally that weren't done. And when they, going back in time, when they went to do them, they didn't do them the way I would recommend having them done. So we think that the slope stabilization is not necessarily slope site stabilization is important to move forward and to maintain continuously through the project.
Right. Question I got for you, Bill. How good are you and the other engineer working together?
Pretty good.
Good. I mean, they're really like getting on board and seeing what you're saying. And I know that the last meeting he was asking if he could stabilize, and we kind of gave you the full eyes for the commission and say it's whatever you're recommending. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are working very well together, and that we just, hey, make it right. Let's make it right.
And it's so sensitive area over there. And there's just been some things have occurred there that unfortunately occurred. You can't correct that right now. We can't correct the drainage. We can deal with that. We can't correct what happened in the past, but we can work to ensure that it doesn't happen again, and that's really my goal on it right now. So that's where we are with it. So I don't know what you'd like me to tell them. I mean, as far as what they can do, but I think site stabilization outside of
areas that's going to get disturbed again. Definitely focus.
Yeah, I think that's paramount to get that stabilized as quickly as possible.
The window for that is closing.
Fast.
Yeah.
Not slow, fast.
Yeah, we've just incurred way too many problems from the site. If they're willing to correct it, I understand that, especially with this new engineer on board, to get this done quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Yeah, so that's why I see, I mean, giving them some latitude to move forward with things and work toward correcting the things that the commission would likely want corrected first, as opposed to at the end of the job.
Right.
You know how the job kind of works out.
Yeah, some punchless stuff and fun stuff. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely all set. I like this letter. I think it's great. Obviously, the plans will be coming soon. But yeah, the other boxes, tell them to, you know, get going with that.
Okay.
Meantime, stabilize, absolutely.
All right.
All for it. Thank you.
All right, that's what I have on that.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Joe. Okay. Next item, under discussion. 185 Mattapoisett Road, revised plan, May 1st, 2024. Review matters presented, votes may be taken. Mr. Cadet, the floor is yours.
Good evening.
Dave.
My name is Dave Fredette. I'm the engineer of record on this project. And I'm basically here to answer questions. So I had prepared any kind of presentation. I know that we've submitted an original conceptual dwelling in August of 2023. The more recent submissions were in actually December for the dwelling that the owners selected initially. And then the most recent submission was May 1st with the dwelling that they now have in mind to build at this site. And we're just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page. The new dwelling is actually outside the buffer zone now, and we just want to know if we can still proceed with what we're planning to do with the restorations in the wetlands as well as the new dwelling.
So the plans were submitted to us. You know, there was a question of whether it required an amended order of conditions or submitting an as-built and then with a letter and recording it that way. Did you use that one? No, I'm just saying with that, you haven't.
Yeah. You consider the changes minor enough to reflect?
I mean, I haven't done it like that without filing new, but in this case, it's, the house is completely out of the buffer zone now. Last time it was what, like?
Well, the garage and a portion of the garage and the porch deck is within 100 foot buffer.
So now the house, the dwelling is completely out of the buffer zone. And the septic system remains in the same location.
There has been no change on the septic system, and there won't be any change. The only thing that remains to do with the septic system is connected to the new house, because that's been in existence now for 2019, about 6 years.
Right. Well,
Or you could go with the as-built submission at
that's feasible, right? I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe in an instance like this where it's all built and what have you, that the as-built, you know, with the COC could reflect where everything is and,
Right.
you know, just note, there's an order on the project right now?
There is, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so just note the deviations from the original
Yeah,
plan
on
on
that,
your as-built
yeah.
plan, and as per normal routine, it should be good.
I don't have an issue with that. I didn't, you know, I think it's less invasive of a project now, you know. I don't have an issue with it.
Well, just keep in mind that the wetlands still have to be restored as part of the original conditions, and that part of it hasn't changed.
Right. Yeah, nothing, exactly. I don't have an issue with it.
Oh, just a letter for the file, just stating that.
I'm thinking that if they file for a certificate of compliance, they're obligated to note the deviations from the original plan. So if they have an as-built drawing and they request a COC and they note those plan changes, I think that should suffice for the commission.
Would it matter that may be like in a year or so from now?
I think that probably a partial, since the wetlands replication area has not yet been done. You want to keep the order open for that, so it's probably a partial certificate of compliance for the house and septic, and, keep the order open for the last part, which would be the replication.
Right. I don't have an issue with it. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the new,
Last big plan.
yeah, the most recent dated plans submitted to the commission.
And as built on that.
Yeah, with the. Yeah. We'll put that letter in the file.
Yeah, well,
And state, because we can't change the order, we're not changing.
yeah, we're not changing the order, we're
so
just
a
allowing,
letter.
we're allowing a revision to the plans that is less, that is outside of what we've done.
Right, revision of the latest plan.
All right, so let me rephrase this.
Latest plans.
Yeah, so I'll entertain a motion to accept the latest plan submitted and keep the existing order intact. So, how is it,
Right, we're not deviating from the original order, we're just.
right? All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's not unanimous.
Yeah, and there's one recusal. Okay. Okay,
Neighbors.
yeah.
What are you gonna do with this?
There's one recusal. All right, so thanks, Mr. Cadet, I appreciate it. I just wanted, I didn't, it was asked of me and I just wanted to bring it in front of the commission for a vote. I didn't want to make that decision, it was not my place to, so I wanted
Understood.
to,
So Dave, can you get me a couple of the larger plans stamped and signed?
Yeah.
That way I can have them for the file.
I'll have them in, if not tomorrow, Monday.
I won't be there next week, so take your time.
Monday's a holiday.
Thank you.
thank you.
Take it easy, Dave.
Okay. Next order of business, under discussion, cease and desist letter dated May 9th, 2024, off Clemens Way, 1094 Main Street, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. So, after our last meeting, a letter was sent out to the landowner. I think I have it. Okay. Letter was sent out to the landowner. As a result of the complaint, phone call, and follow-up site visit written warning dated April 3rd, 2024, from Chairman Lieutenant, stop work and short erosion controls are in place off of Clemens Way site. You're now wanted to cease and desist from any further clearing and construction activities off Clemens Way until further notice. So that was issued. We received a letter from the attorney for the trust addressing some of the concerns. The clearing of the streams was done on 2 occasions because of Bristol County mosquito control, and they had submitted the receipts and letters that were submitted to the town. They were addressed to the Conservation Commission, however, they went to the town hall, and Joanne doesn't have it, it's on record of them. However, that does, that does make sense why the streams were cleared, and they have receipts to prove it, essentially. I'm just summarizing this because there's a lot of, legal, laws pertaining to the Wetland Protection Act and agriculture. There was also mention of trees that were cleared, as well as gravel being put down on access roads. I'll address this work generally, and it went on to land with agricultural use and an exemption because of that. And referring to the laws that were cited in the letter, and they were asking to have the cease and desist rescinded. I forwarded the letter to town council. I consulted with multiple people, and there is a handbook that details agricultural use in the Wetland Protection Act from DEP. It's a 132-page manual. I've read it in the past, but I've read it again, all 132 pages, and I'll just cite some of the stuff that's in it.
What do you mean, you're gonna read 132 pages?
No, just the stuff that was pertinent to the letter,
But sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's under multi-use commercial, it's not under farmland. So in my eyes, if it was registered under farmland, then all these topics that you're about to go through matter, but it's not.
Right,
not.
well, the letter claims that it is under agricultural use. So I was just, and just what the handbook says is to qualify for the agricultural exemption, land must be in agricultural use. And these regulations are quite specific. And then the land must be presently and primarily in agricultural use. And then that's defined in.
But it has to be deemed farmland.
Right, but ultimately, what they're claiming is that they're exempt, and the regulations are saying that it's not, because within the last, there's a 5-year window, and the land that was cleared was not within that 5-year window. It was probably 30 years ago, it was used for farmland, so ultimately what I'm saying is there needs to be a file for activity.
Well, it has been made,
The field up front has, not out back. It was thick, it was trees.
So was the stream they put in legit or no legit?
well,
No, the stream was there, it was clear, because from Bristol County mosquito control.
and that, and by law, in fact, the mass mosquito control does exist.
Yeah, no, so that's all set.
So that was,
So ultimately, to sum it all up, the issue at hand needs a filing, and that's the activity to the eastern side of the site. So they're asking to rescind the cease and desist, and I'm just gonna say, based on advice from, our consultants and town council, that it remain in effect until proper, permitting has been,
I agree.
Submitted.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, I mean, I don't wanna, get into a big discussion about it, but ultimately the cease and desist is gonna remain intact. That was the advice that was given to the commission. So I think that's something that.
Can I ask a quick question? Do you want me to go up there to ask the question?
Yeah, you can.
It's just a clarification question. You're talking about which spot are you talking about mosquitoes? The place where they cleared like all the trees,
No, the area was noted by a member of the commission when we were doing the site visit. There's an intermittent stream more towards the center of the property, western end of the property, and it was cleared on both sides of the stream,
okay.
and it was done by.
Okay, because I was gonna say, that's not mosquito control that you're talking about where my property is, where Bob Rocha came out and the police came out. Because that area where they cleared the trees, the police came out and they said they didn't even know they weren't supposed to clear trees at that point. That's right abutting my property where the brook is.
So that's
You were with him, right? I was gonna say that was you who was with him, right? And when the police came, they said they didn't know anything about it, and then I know you guys had crossed over there to talk to them or something, I think, and they said they didn't know. And there was no mosquito control that came out or anything like that, because they would have come to my house as well for that property, so.
they're touching out the street.
I'm sorry?
They might go to your house and they're touching out the street.
whatever, but I mean, no mosquito
Well,
control.
mass mosquito squad. Huh?
I don't think we walked by that area.
No.
Because the mass mosquito squad has an exemption through Massachusetts to go on it, like, like I own a stream, I can call them and say, hey, my stream's backing up, can you come down here and clear it? They're the only, what's the word I'm looking for, company that is exempt from the 310 CMI. So they can go in, if they want to clear, if they say it's a mosquito inhabited area and it needs to be clear cut, they can exempt every one of us, every one of Massachusetts, they can go in there and do it. Reason being is because of the big break house we had with the snile and all the diseases that mosquitoes will carry.
Right,
So,
I'm
but
just,
they don't have to, with their exempt, they don't have to let you know, they don't have to let anybody know. All you have to do is call them and say, hey, this is it.
Well, they
They come
let the
out.
town know, but
I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, they
but-
keep, well, that's out of the graces of that hat, is what I'm getting. But by law, they don't have to.
I wish we would have
Go in
had
and
letters
tell
prior to
them.
walking, truthfully, I feel. You know, the letters would have put a little bit in our head instead of just saying, hey, the guy walked through like Moses. We would have been able to say, well, okay, this is why that was done. It would have been great to have the letters prior to us walking. It would have put a little more information in our head before we put our eyes on it. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I'm just trying to explain. the
oh,
law
I
to you.
understand, I'm just saying that his property is right here, here's the stream between us, this is my property. So it would make sense to me that they would have also said like, you know, the stream is like this wide, so it doesn't make sense to me that they would have said to him, yeah, leave those trees there, but not said anything
They
to me.
wouldn't say for him to do it.
Oh, right, well,
They
no,
are the only ones.
it was him that was there with his bulldozer, so I saw him, that was why I
I
called the
did.
police.
I'm just saying.
I understand.
All I'm trying to do
I'm not being
is,
disrespectful.
I'm just trying to explain the law to you. If you want to interpret it any way you want, that's up to you, but that's.
That area,
I don't wanna
I
interpret
would
it at
say that area is agriculture, and we do have the, authority to ask him to show his receipts.
Right.
So that, in talking to him, the owner, he did say that he does hay the field, and he does do that, so I mean, I can ask him. I also did speak to him, and he said that since my initial conversation with him, telling him to stop, that there has been no activity on the site. He said, that machines are heard because he stores his equipment on site.
Since the cease and desist, there has been no activity. The day before the cease and desist, he was doing things on the property. He was.
Well,
Right, yeah.
as long as it's not in the resource area, he does have his machines stored up towards the
No,
main
he-
street.
He was dumping rocks in the middle, and moving rocks around that day before, but not since the cease and desist, he has done nothing.
Okay.
And it was him on his bulldozer that day that was knocking down the trees right along the, I mean, you came out and you saw it. So, I mean, that was why I called the police, because he was on the brook, within the 100 feet of the preserved land preserve, cutting down the trees. I have photos of it, so I mean, I'm not making it up, I'm not interpreting the law or something like that at all. I'm not trying to get your, that's what was happening, that's what caused.
I got a question for the commission. Do they take in, does the Bristol come out and do it themselves, clear the land, or do they tell the landowner to clear?
No, they clear.
So was that cleared by Bristol, or was that cleared by the owner?
And I think,
That,
and I
your
think,
guess is as good as mine, I don't have a picture.
so that being said, why don't we try to look for a clarification on cut these trees?
Yeah, we can do that.
Is it a natural stream too?
The stream is
When
dug.
was
It
it?
doesn't matter if it was dug, is it natural?
It's natural,
Or was it a storm
Let's
water?
make sure we're talking about the same stream.
yeah, it's a
I'm
natural
talking the
stream.
one that goes next to the clearing. The one down over there is the stream I'm talking.
I think
You're talking about the stream next to your property. Okay, so there's two different
That's to
streams
the
there.
north?
You're to the north of it, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So we're talking about a different
Goes
stream.
into the stormwater swale right there, right before the other pond too, I went and chased it the other day.
All right, we'll do some investigating on those matters, but in the meantime, the cease and desist is in place. And it will remain in place until proper further notice.
Thank you.
Question. Kevin Bernard, witness at Robinson Road. So he had a lawyer send a letter saying that the property is farmland or agricultural. And that's why he can do what he wants to do on the land for as much as he wants to do on the land. So that, in my interpretation, the land is going to remain agricultural and be able to do these things.
Some of it.
It only depends if he has a 61A or a 61B, but that ain't what we're looking at right now.
Where you're looking at the delineation of everything and him not cease and desist is what you're looking at.
Yeah, this was just a follow-up on the cease and desist.
But his lawyer sent him a letter saying that the reason he did all these things is because he has agricultural land. And he can do these things.
Right.
So in my interpretation of what he's saying is that the land's going to remain agricultural and he can keep doing whatever he wants to do on it because that's within his rights.
No,
As long as he's
no, what he's saying is
agricultural.
the land was in agricultural use at the time this activity was done. And it's not necessarily have to be in the future. But at the time that this work was done, he's saying that it was in agricultural use.
So today it can be, he can do whatever he wants, and tomorrow you can just flip the sheet and it's something totally different.
No, then tomorrow, then he wouldn't be able to do what he wants. Or square a field or declare that, I would imagine.
It almost seems as though he's claiming it's agricultural and to do what I want. What I did is all legal, and I got to do what I wanted to do to make the land meet the needs I wanted to meet, so now I can flip the page and do now something else.
That's such a tough subject because 310 does also specify it doesn't matter if it's a wetland or not. If you can prove it was previously maintained, you have the right to continue to maintain it to keep the wetland at the same spot. So it doesn't matter if it's agricultural or not.
I just wanted to steer this back. This was to go over the letter that we received, their response, and we're going to continue to look into everything else. I just wanted to update the public that the letter was sent, back to us, and we're going to continue hashing everything else out.
The only reason I brought it up was he sent a letter from a lawyer claiming all this stuff that just doesn't seem to make sense to me. That it's kind of like he's hiding behind something. And, I don't know. It just doesn't seem on the level. That's the only reason I brought it up, just to make. That we have concerns that what he's doing doesn't seem on the level. If you're going to look into it, we really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for that.
We're looking into it.
We have eyes on this one, trust us.
Thank you.
Okay. No votes taken there. Okay, next discussion topic. Settlement agreement, Cushing Solar LLC, Woodbridge Renewals LLC, review of matters presented, votes may be taken. Did you guys all get a copy of the settlement agreement?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Essentially, it's just removing any liability from the commission, and they need a signature. So, everything on our end has already been done. I think this is just a formality. Seal the deal. So, I'll entertain a motion to allow me to sign the settlement agreement.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm including myself.
Okay. One refusal.
Let's vote.
Yeah, we do a vote.
Eric Barda.
Everett, yes.
Ryan Zendi's aye.
James.
Douglas Thomas, a yes.
All right, agent updates, other business. Okay, so first thing we have is okay, from the building department, we received a letter this morning, yesterday morning, regarding 7 Eileen Street. Dear Mr. Barrow, please be advised that this office has received numerous complaints from neighboring properties and the police department. To clarify this enforcement order, the following department approvals are required to proceed on this property: Conservation Commission approval, Board of Health approval, permit from the building department, and removal of the trailer of his property from Mr. Rebola. We have cease and desist that has been issued in, I think it was November of 2023, and it still remains in effect. I did have to go out there at some point, it may have been shortly after that, or when I spoke with him. And we haven't had anything since. I guess there's been some activity over there. I don't think we need to reissue our cease and desist.
You gave him a verbal?
No, it was formal. It was written by our former agent. We all ratified it. It's official. So until there needs to be any other action taken,
They did reach out to me. As I was saying, they had reached out to you about the activation.
yeah, no, yeah.
So they probably haven't heard.
We heard something recently. That's why this letter went out, I guess, from me. I guess. Okay. There's something else I had on the other business. Right? Oh, well, I got an email this afternoon from the town administrator's office. They have some resumes that have been submitted for a conservation agent.
Whoa!
So, I looked at the email, it was 3 or 4, so I imagine that he just said to get in contact with the town administrator and take a look. So I haven't looked at them yet, but I can tell how many there were, so there's some options. I'm sure there'll be, a higher process or whatever.
Are you gonna sit with the administrator and go over?
What's that?
Are you gonna sit with the administrator and go over the resumes?
I'm gonna go over the resumes, and I imagine that the town administrator will, I think, when they hired the last agent, it was the chairman and the vice chair. We could set up, I don't know, we could set up something, somebody wants to, they'll have the commission propose questions from the potential agent, get answers back to you, and, I don't know, there'll be some sort of thing. I haven't talked to the town administrator, but just, let you
As long as you're in the loop.
Yeah, I'll keep everybody in the loop, obviously, but I just got the email today, and I haven't really done it yet, so. But I know there's a few left, so we'll do it, and I'll, get some contact with you guys individually to get some info and whatever. That's all I got. Future business, next meeting for the Conservation Commission will be on June 12th, 2024. Meeting to be held at the Town Hall Meeting Room, located at 122 Main Street in Acushnet, Mass. I think the chief allowed us to be here this long. That's great. It's a nice place, but I don't mind going back. I don't know, it's closer. Yeah, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.